Now, what we also want to get into here now is, and this is kind of what we've been talking about all along, be a strategic thinker. Be strategic in terms of how you think about and approach business. Don't just go in the business and just start doing activity and doing tasks without looking at things from a big picture, a macro level, and then also thinking about them at the micro level. What I find is that people don't really have a lot of problem at the micro level, the lower level, because they're often in the weeds. And they're in the weeds so often, they don't take time to come up out of the weeds so that they can see and get some sense of where their business is going. So it's important to be aware that you need to be a strategic thinker and be intentional about considering yourself and thinking of yourself as a strategic thinker, because strategies is as important as anything when it comes to business. Now, one of the best places to learn how to become and use better judgment is to read the book of Proverbs. I just want to pause and just say that whole book is so full of information and jewels and wisdom. You really can't go wrong by just simply reading the book of Proverbs. I did that a long time ago. David Morrow, who helped me with the book, when I told him I wanted to learn more about the Bible, this has been almost, I want to say 20 years ago. We've been friends that long. He said, well, look, first thing you want to do is read the book of Proverbs. And that's what I did. He said, there's 31 chapters in the book. You can read a chapter a day. And that's what I did. And I can promise you, that book is so full of wisdom. And it tells you, it's sometimes called the book of wisdom, that you just simply, it'll just exponentially fill you with knowledge and information that I can assure you, it will almost guarantee that you're going to have success in whatever you do. So I can't stress that enough. But just read the book of Proverbs. It is an absolute wonderful book for any person in business, because you know the story about Solomon. When God asked Solomon to, what did he want? I'll give you anything that you want. And Solomon didn't ask for riches. He said, give me wisdom to guide your people. And God was so impressed with that. I'm using this word. God favored that. That was the right answer. And so God not only gave him wisdom, he gave him wealth at the same time. And you'll find the same thing in the book of Proverbs. So let's talk a little bit about this concept of working in the business versus working on the business. It's one that you absolutely have to be continually aware of, because there's a problem with you not having an understanding of that if you don't, when it comes to working in the business as opposed to working on the business. And what happens is that every small business owner, when you start your business, you're going to be wearing most of the hats, if not all of the hats. And that's what happens. And so you don't have any alternative but to wear all the hats in your business. And thus, you are working in your business, and you're in the weeds, you're working on the day-to-day details. You're responsible for everything, for the financial side. You're responsible for production. You're responsible for sales. You're responsible for marketing. You're responsible for all of those operations in your business. Every business, the business components of every business are basically the same. The infrastructure and structure of a business is essentially the same for all of them. And someone has to do all of those tasks, depending on the size of the business. And it's important to be aware that if you intend to grow, you're going to have to be able to delegate some of those other hats to other people. You'll have to find either friends or relatives to come in and help you if you're starting out with just you or just one or two people, or you can hire, you can outsource some things. You can hire virtual assistants. That's gotten to be very popular in the last few years, is hiring people virtually to do things in your business some people handle accounting, some people handle scheduling, some people handle different aspects of the operations. Just Google virtual assistants or VAs out there. And there's some very trustworthy firms out there that can provide the service that you need. So look into that, and they will. You enter into agreements with them just like you do any other outsourced contract person that you might work with. And it also saves you on employee costs when you because overhead. The salaries are one of the biggest costs in any business, and you're locked into those salaries for a certain period of time. If you have an outsourced let's say virtual assistant or someone who comes in part-time to do some things, then that's a cost that you can allocate or allow it to vary in terms of how often or how much you use that particular service. So be aware that that you're going to have to delegate some of these hats, and you've got to get other people in the business to help you with it, because you're just so responsible for everything, and you're really worried about everything that's going on internally, and you'll get to a better place when it comes to growing your business, but it really definitely affects your ability to do more if you're constantly working in the business. And so it's important to really build the right systems. And that's why some of these exercises that I ask you to do here will help you to start to quantify some of the tasks that you're doing, so that when you do bring other people on, you've already started a checklist of things that you can provide to them. And see, this not only does this help you in terms of your judgment, in terms of decisions that you make, but you're building, you're beginning to build a framework for systems that you can use for standard operating procedures, because you're going to need procedures in place as your business grows as well. And so these exercises help. They're just sort of some of the underpinnings of getting ready to scale your business. Because when you have when you grow, to grow effectively, you want to think about scaling, and you're going to have to bring other people in, you're going to have to bring other resources in, and you want to build your processes and systems. That's the key. That's the secret to being able to really scale your business, or put it in a place where your business is not such a burden on you, or not such a drag on you, and that you don't become a slave to the business. And it's all about building the right systems and processes in place for each of the various components through which your business operates. And we'll have some other training on that too, very specifically, as we go forward. But just keep in mind that your systems are very, very important to your ability to scale and grow, and bring other people in, and to delegate on that. Now, one of the problems that I see often too that hurts small businesses is that a lot of people have trouble delegating. They have difficulty delegating. And even worse than that, they have this control issue with doing everything. And that hurts a business. And most people feel I won't say most, but many, and it could be most when they start out, want to feel like, look, I'm the best person to do this. I can do this job better than anybody else in the company. And the answer is that you probably can do it better than anybody else in the company. But the question is, do you need to be doing that particular task? Because what that's going to do is to hold your business down. It's going to hold you back. If you can't break free and delegate those tasks to others, I can tell you it's almost an epidemic type problem that I see among small business owners as they begin to grow and try to scale their business. Because there's only a certain point at which you can do everything. And so you want to be thinking about that in terms of being able to delegate some of those hats to other people and let them do their jobs. And even if it gets to the point of them failing or missing something, you need to let them do their job. Now, within reason, of course, but you can't just give them a task and then stay over their shoulder, making sure they get it done exactly like the way you would do it. So that's a very, very important point that I run into so often, that I want to emphasize that. Be aware that you don't become that type of person that when you have people that you can delegate to, that you actually don't do it, and you still end up doing it yourself, because you're really holding them back on that. Don't micromanage every aspect of your business, and that's what this is about. You hear people talking about, well, he's a micromanager, and the person like that, well, I'm just a hands-on kind of person. Well, now you're micromanaging, and you're also hurting your company when you do that. So get to a place where you can let go, and you have to work on that, and you have to be intentional about that, because there are consequences to running your business that way, and they're not really good consequences either.